Okay, welcome back. Uh, I know you guys are still a little stressed from your midterms. I know you had a busy week last week, thinking only about your midterms. So, what I can tell you is that for our Zoom class, you will not need a book. I will be talking about other things. Um, and I know you're going to have a lot of questions about some of the things that I'm going to talk about, but one of the things you don't need to worry about is your book. Of course, you still have to watch these videos, but the good news, of course, is you won't need your book because we will be talking about other things in the class. And like I said, there will be questions in class, and there will be a lot of questions, I'm sure, once class is over. So for now, let's get our books. Go to page 50. This is class video 7. This is the TED Talk, and on page 50, you should have a page that looks something like this. And this is the full picture in your book. This is House H, a residential, meaning people living there, project in Tokyo, designed by Japanese architect Sou Fujimoto. I guess I'm saying that right. Photographed by Iwan Ban. Iwan Ban will be the TED Talk speaker in this video, so let's get to it. All right, ingenious homes in unexpected places. So before we get to the TED Talk, we're going to learn a little bit about who the TED speaker is, and his name, of course, is Iwan Ban. And then you're going to answer those questions. So, reading, you can read along to the audio. All right, are we ready? Here we go.
Ingenious homes in unexpected places. Iwan Ban, urban documentarian, TED speaker. Iwan Ban is a Dutch photographer who takes photos of buildings. Ban has worked with some of the most famous architects in the world, but he isn't only interested in the things that architects build. In fact, he's much more interested in how ordinary people create spaces to live and work. He especially likes to focus on people in poorer countries, where infrastructure such as housing, electricity, and clean drinking water is often lacking. Ban documents how people adapt to their environments when these resources are not available. His photos show the creative ways that people make their own communities using whatever resources they have at hand.
All right, and like most readings, on the bottom, you'll see words that maybe you don't know. In this case, document as a verb, infrastructure. You, I'm I am pronouncing the R there after F, but you can also just say infrastructure. That's okay too. All right, so here are the questions. You have 3 of them. I know it's been a while since you've watched one of these videos, maybe about 2 weeks. So, about 2 weeks. So, as usual, for as long as you need to answer these questions, pause your video now. Okay, so welcome back. You should have gone to the reading, looked for the answers to these questions. Pretty easy, especially question one. It's very, very easy. Okay, what is Bond's profession? What's his job? Photographer. You can also write he's a. Okay, what is Bond most interested in? How ordinary people create spaces to work and live, especially in poorer countries. What do Bond's photographs show? How people adapt to their environments when the resources are not available and are creative in making their communities. All right, there's a lot here. So for as long as you need to copy what I wrote here, you can pause your video now. Okay, welcome back. By you're listening to me now, it means you already copied everything here. So let's go to the next slide. Here he is. Bond's ideas, Bond's idea worth spreading is that humans can make homes anywhere and design spaces to make the most of their circumstances. Okay, so I just want to let you guys know ahead of time, before we watch the talk, which is coming up soon. As a speaker, he's a little kind of just, hello, my name is. But what he has to say is very interesting. His photographs are great. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And for this, or any other of the TED Talk videos that we do, you do have the direct links to all the TED Talks for the book in the class folder, or you can just go to TED.com. And all the TED Talks that we use in the book, plus many, 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 many more, all have Korean subtitles. So this one won't here. But if you go to the TED site, you can watch the full talk with Korean. All right, because the TED Talk we use here is going to be from the company that makes the book. So they kind of edit it for only the parts that they want you to watch. All right, here we go. And before we get to the TED Talk, okay, so a home on the water. So this is a floating community of Makoko, Nigeria, photograph, Yeungnam Bond. And this is what his TED Talk is going to be about. What they did, what he saw. It's actually very interesting. So this is a direct quote from his talk. Here are the words: adapted, appear, become, located. So to make it easy, I'm going to read what the book wants you to do. Read the excerpt from Bond's talk, complete the paragraph with the words below. But I'm going to read this right now without the answers. Let's go now to Africa, to Nigeria, to a community called Makoko, a slum where 150,000 people live just meters above the Lagos Lagoon. While it may blank to be a completely chaotic place, when you see it from above, there seems to be a whole grid of waterways and canals connecting each and every home. From the main dock, people board long wooden canoes which carry them out to their various homes and shops. Blank. In the expansive, not expensive, expansive, big, wide area. When out on the water, it's clear that life has been completely blank to this very specific way of living. Even the canoes, variety stores where ladies paddle from house to house, selling anything from toothpaste to fresh fruits. And on the bottom, chaotic slum. All right, so for as long as you need to look at this and put the words in the correct place, you can pause the video now. Okay, welcome back. You should already have the words in the correct place. I'm going to read it one more time with the answers. Let's go now to Africa, to Nigeria, to a community called Makoko, a slum where 150,000 people live just meters above the Lagos Lagoon. While it may appear to be a completely chaotic place, when you see it from above, there seems to be a whole grid of waterways and canals connecting each and every home. From the main dock, people board long wooden canoes, which carry them out to their various homes and shops. Located in the expansive area, when out on the water, it's clear that life has been completely adapted to this very specific way of living. Even the canoes become variety stores where ladies paddle from house to house, selling anything from toothpaste to fresh fruits. All right. That quote he made about it looks chaotic, but from above. Okay, let's take a look. There it is. This is one shot he took from above. And you can kind of see, for example, this might be the main route. And then through here, they're all connected. All right, so here are the answers again. Pause the video for as long as you need to write these now. Okay, welcome back. You've already written the answers, and here we go. So we're going to watch the first part of the TED Talk. These are some of the things that you need to do. So go ahead and let's take a look at this. We're going to getting the main idea. And then we have understanding key details. So you have jobs, that's what that word means. Entertainment, services and institutions, transportation. These words will go here. Critical thinking, answers will vary means not everybody will think the same. But these are things that you should be thinking about. Now, inferring, I'm going to talk about that after we do this. What does the word infer mean? right now I want you to just think about B and A. That's it. All right, we're going to watch the first part of his TED Talk, and then you're going to answer this. All right, I did warn you, he's flat when he speaks, but it's an interesting subject.
Let's go now to Africa, to Nigeria, to a community called Makoko, a slum where 150,000 people live just meters above the Lagos Lagoon. While it may appear to be a completely chaotic place, when you see it from above, there seems to be a whole grid of like waterways and canals connecting each and every home. From the main dock, people board long wooden canoes, which carry them out to their various homes and shops located in the expansive area. When out on the water, it's clear that life has been completely adapted to this very specific way of living. Even the canoes become variety stores where ladies paddle from house to house, selling anything from toothpaste to fresh fruits. Behind every window and door frame, you'll see a small child peering back at you. And while Makoko seems to be packed with people, what's more shocking is actually the amount of children pouring out of every building. The population growth in Nigeria, and especially in these areas like Makoko, are painful reminders of how out of control things really are. In Makoko, very few systems and infrastructures exist. Electricity is rigged, and freshest water comes from self-built wells throughout the area. This entire economic model is designed to meet this specific way of living on the water. So fishing and boat making are common professions. On this particular evening, I came across this live band dressed to the T in their coordinating outfits. They were floating through the canals in a large canoe with a fitted out generator for all of the community to enjoy. By nightfall, the area becomes almost pitch black, save for a small light bulb or a fire. What originally brought me to Makoko was this project from a friend of mine, Kunle Adeyemi, who recently finished building this 3-story floating school for the kids in Makoko. With this entire village existing on the water, the public space is very limited. So now that the school is finished, the ground floor is a playground for the kids. But when classes are out, the platform is just like a town square where the fishermen mend their nets and floating shopkeepers dock their boats.
So that's the end of part 1. So this should be really quick. So you can always pause whenever you need to, but you don't really need to pause here. So people in Makoko have adapted to their environment by doing what? Building an entire community on the water. B. And for the next part, you will need to pause. All right, so for this, ignore this. I needed to take this away. This is from the original slide. In entertainment, there is a word. So these other words, where do they go? So for as long as you need, pause the video now. Okay, welcome back. So you have unpaused the video, meaning you are ready to check your answers. So he did mention professions at the end of the video. He even used the word. So what are two of the professions here? We have boat making, fishing. Those are the two main ones. What type of entertainment did he show in the TED Talk? The floating band. All right, what type of services and institutions does Makoko have? It has a floating school and floating stores. So there's only one left. The type of transportation that they use in Makoko are canoes. So the answers here are CE, then A, then BF, then D. Okay, pause if you need to. But okay, I'm going to go on to the next part, which is part 2. Okay, take a look at this. You're going to, again, understanding the main ideas. Here, you're going to finish the sentences. Then, recognizing attitude. Read this excerpt from Bond's talk and underline the adjectives. Gyeongsan. Not right now, not right now. Just going over the things. But before we start this, I did promise you that I would tell you what infer means. So inferring, whether you're speaking, watching a movie, TV, or reading, inferring is saying something that's not there. Okay, so for an example I like to use is, as the man walked down the stairs, he reached, I'm going to start one more time. The man walked down the stairs of his home. When he got to the bottom, he put on his coat and took his umbrella outside where he was going to go to work. Okay, so we have, you can infer here. I didn't say it, but he was coming from upstairs. So we can infer that he was upstairs. We can infer that the weather is cold and that it's raining, or that it might rain. Why? He put on his coat and he took his umbrella. And the easiest inferences here, or to infer, is that he has a job where he's going to work. All right, so that's what infer means. That was from the part 1, right? On the bottom of the page. Now, for here, critical thinking is applying. Okay, so we are not going to do that, but it is something for you guys to think about. He quotes Zita Cobb that there's this plague of sameness which is killing the human joy. Do you know of any places like this? How can they be improved? Okay, so basically something for you to think about. And of course, explore more. You don't have to share your thoughts or ideas with the class, but like I said, you can go to TED.com, you can watch his talk, and it will have Korean. I guess to make it easier if you want to understand. And it's an interesting talk. We are going to watch part 2 in just a second. All right, so here are the sentences you need to finish. Bond says that these communities could create even better solutions if what? Bond thinks that many large residential building projects around the world are What? Okay, but first let's watch part 2. Oh, here are the answers, sorry. All right. If they had the same basic infrastructure to build from, and Bond thinks these projects are not creative and do not provide what people need. So there you go, a little bonus here. B, C. There you go. And now here we go with part 2.
From Kokotezabeling, these communities have approached the tasks of planning, design and management of their communities and neighborhoods in ways that respond specifically to their environment and circumstances, created by these very people who live, work and play in these particular spaces. These neighborhoods are intuitively designed to make the most of their circumstances. In most of these places, the government is completely absent, leaving inhabitants with no choice but to reappropriate found materials. And while these communities are highly disadvantaged, they do present examples of brilliant forms of ingenuity and prove that indeed we have the ability to adapt to all manner of circumstances. What makes places like the Torre David particularly remarkable is this sort of skeleton framework where people can have a foundation where they can tap into. Now imagine what these already ingenious communities could create themselves, and how highly particular their solutions would be if they were given the basic infrastructures that they could tap into. Today you see these large residential development projects which offer cookie-cutting housing solutions to massive amounts of people. From China to Brazil, these projects attempt to provide as many houses as possible, but they're completely generic and simply do not work as an answer to the individual needs of the people. I would like to end with a quote from a friend of mine and a source of inspiration, Zita Kopp, the founder of the wonderful Shorefast Foundation based out of Fogo Island, Newfoundland. She says that there's this plague of sameness which is killing the human joy, and I couldn't agree with her more. But thank you.
Again, great site. So many interesting videos to watch. And like I said, Korean is available. All right, we already went through the answers here. So remember what I said, better solutions. They had some basic infrastructures to build from. B, and Bond thinks many large residential building projects around the world are not creative and do not provide what people need. C. So the answers here are B, C. All right. Now here, you have to read this quote. I guess I'll reread it. And you need to underline the adjectives. Gyeongsan. In most of these places, the government is completely absent, leaving inhabitants, the people who live there, with no choice but to reappropriate. So they find things and they reuse them to make things. So to reappropriate found materials, and while these communities are highly disadvantaged, they do present examples of brilliant forms of ingenuity, great ideas, and prove that indeed we have the ability to adapt to all manner of circumstances. What makes places like the Torre David particularly remarkable is this sort of skeleton framework where people can have a foundation where they can tap into. Now imagine what these already ingenious communities could create themselves and how highly particular their solutions would be if they were given the basic infrastructure they could tap into. Okay, so I know you're going to be pausing the video for a long time here, looking for the adjectives. Remember, Gyeongsan. So let's get to it. For as long as you need, pause your video now. Okay, welcome back. You have unpaused your video, so you have underlined the adjectives. Let's begin. Here we go. The government is completely absent. That is the first one. To reappropriate found materials, materials that were found. Disadvantaged, highly disadvantaged. So the communities are brilliant. What is it? It's brilliant. Okay. Remarkable. So Torre David is remarkable, and it's actually very interesting, and that's going to be part of our reading. Torre David. Okay. Ingenious. The communities are ingenious. Particular. Highly particular. And I believe there's one more. Yeah, I thought so. Basic. Okay, so these are the adjectives. Again, you can pause your video now to underline them. All right, welcome back. Let's move on. All right, so does Bond have a positive or negative attitude toward the communities he documents? How do you know? I would say that everybody has a different answer here, but I think this one is pretty easy to understand. I'll just let it scroll by. Okay, so obviously we could tell that his attitude is positive, which is clear by his choice of adjectives: brilliant, remarkable, ingenious. Okay, you need to copy this down. Pause now. All right, welcome back. You've copied this down. Let's move on. Oh, I need to do this. Here it is. So, explore more. You can watch Bond's complete TED Talk at TED.com. I already talked about this. What other unusual communities does he talk about? You can find out. You don't have to share what you learn with your class, but you know, the TED Talk he does is longer than what we have here. So, okay, I just letting you know. You don't have to write this down. This is just letting you know in the TED Talk. These are some of the other places he talks about. So yeah, if you want to hear more about Cairo and all these other places, I have the direct link to his talk. Just go to the class folder or just go to TED.com. Again, Hangul Jamak Isayo. Okay, so you're going to work with a partner and you're going to find out other unusual structures. So, oh, wait a minute. No, you're not. I'm going to be talking first about what are, actually, I'll let you know now. One of the things I'm going to talk about in the Zoom class is your final speaking test, which is a presentation. Don't panic. We're going to talk about that. That's why I said you're going to have a lot of questions. I'm sure. So first, wait until the Zoom class. I will tell you exactly what you need to do. And then something like this is supposed to be kind of like practice. But of course, first you need to have a group. You need to find your group. So don't worry about this. So right now, do not look at this yet. When I want you guys to do a practice presentation, I'll let you know. So don't worry about this. No, 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 no. Just, I'll see you in Zoom class and I will explain everything in the Zoom class. So for now, that's it. You have all the answers that you need. Remember, for the Zoom class, you will not need your book. So I'll see you in Zoom class. Bye.